Welcome to Season 2 of Fearless in Faith. I'm your host, Esther, and I cannot tell you how excited I am for this season. This journey has been incredible, and I know that Season 2 is going to challenge, inspire, and encourage you like never before. This season, we are diving deep into what it means to have faith without fear and courage without compromise. We'll hear stories of people who have chosen to trust God completely, even when life seemed uncertain, even when fear tried to stop them. And that brings me to today's episode, Walking by Faith, Not by Sight. We often talk about trusting God even when we can't see the outcome. But for today's guest, that truth is not just spiritual, it's literal. Rebecca Singh is a visually impaired artist, motivational speaker, and faith warrior who has refused to let her physical blindness stop her from seeing the bigger picture of God's purpose for her life. Rebecca's story is about overcoming the impossible, defying expectations, and living boldly for God, even when the world says, "You can't." Rebecca, welcome to Fearless in Faith.
Thank you so much, Esther. It's an honor to be here. I love what this podcast represents because faith has been the foundation of my entire life. I was born with a rare degenerative eye condition, and by the time I was a teenager, my world became darker and darker, literally. Losing my sight was one of the hardest things I ever went through. Not just because I couldn't see, but because the world around me started treating me differently. I remember being 14 years old and hearing someone say, "She won't be able to do much with her life." Those words cut deep. Society often defines us by our limitations, and for a long time, I started to believe that maybe I was less than, that my dreams had to be smaller, my life had to be safer, and my faith had to be realistic. But God had other plans. One night, I was sitting in my room, frustrated and honestly angry at God. I asked him, "Why did you allow this? Why can't I just be normal?" And in the quiet, I felt God speak to my heart. "Rebecca, I don't need you to see with your eyes. I need you to trust with your heart." That night, something shifted inside me. I realized that sight is not the same as vision. My physical sight was failing, but God was giving me a greater vision, one that wasn't limited by what I could see, but by what He could do through me. From that moment on, I made a decision. I would not let my blindness define me. I would let my faith define me. I started to step out of my comfort zone, doing things that people told me I couldn't do. I went to college when many thought I wouldn't. I pursued my love for art, even when people questioned how a blind person could paint. I became a motivational speaker, sharing my story of faith, hope, and resilience. And let me tell you something, Esther. Faith has led me to places my eyes never could. I've stood on stages, sharing my testimony. I've created paintings that have been displayed in galleries. I've helped others who feel limited to believe that they are not defined by what they lack, but by the God who leads them. One of the greatest lessons I've learned is that when we trust God completely, He opens doors that no man can shut. Blindness tried to limit me, but faith has liberated me. I may not be able to see with my eyes, but I have never seen more clearly with my spirit. Because like the Bible says in 2 Corinthians 5:7, "For we walk by faith, not by sight."
Rebecca, I am absolutely blown away. Your testimony is a powerful reminder that faith is not about having a clear view of the path. It's about having a clear trust in God. So many people struggle with trusting God when things feel uncertain, when life doesn't go as planned. What would you say to someone listening right now who is afraid to take the next step because they can't see what's ahead?
That's such a great question, Esther. Here's what I've learned. Fear feeds on uncertainty, but faith thrives on trust. Most of us want to see the entire picture before we say yes to God. We want to know where we're going, how it will work, and that everything will be safe and successful. But that's not how faith works. Faith is saying, "God, I trust you, even when I don't understand, even when I don't see the full picture, even when it doesn't make sense." If you're feeling afraid right now, I want to challenge you. What if the breakthrough you've been praying for is on the other side of your first step? Think about Peter walking on water. Jesus didn't give him all the details. He just said, "Come." And Peter had to decide, would he step out or would he stay in the boat? If you want to see miracles, you have to move.
That is so good. So often we're waiting on God, but He's actually waiting on us to step forward in faith. And speaking of stepping out, I want to introduce someone very special, one of our Fearless in Faith team members, Daniel, who has been listening in and has a question for you, Rebecca. Daniel, welcome to the conversation.
Thank you, Esther. And Rebecca, it's such an honor to hear your story. Your faith and resilience are truly inspiring. I've been thinking about something as I listen to you. Many people struggle not just with their own doubts, but with the voices around them, whether it's family, friends, or society telling them they can't do something. How did you deal with external voices? The ones that doubted you, underestimated you, or told you that your dreams were impossible?
Daniel, that's a great question. And I think it's something we all face at some point in life. For me, external voices were the hardest to silence, especially when they came from people I loved and respected. I had teachers, relatives, even friends who said things like, "Maybe you should just accept your limitations. It's going to be really hard for you to succeed. Are you sure you want to take that risk?" At first, those words hurt. They made me question whether I was being unrealistic. But then, I realized something. The only voice that truly matters is God's. I had to ask myself, am I going to listen to what the world says about me? Or am I going to listen to what God says about me? And the truth is, God never calls us according to what people see. He calls us according to what He has placed inside us. One verse that helped me was Isaiah 41:10. "Do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." I started declaring God's promises over my life every time doubt crept in. I surrounded myself with faith-filled people who believed in me, even when I struggled to believe in myself. And most importantly, I let my faith be louder than the doubt. To anyone listening right now who is facing negative voices, I want to say this. People's opinions don't define your destiny. God does.
Absolutely, Rebecca. Your story is a living testimony of what happens when we trust God's vision over people's opinions. Rebecca, thank you so much for sharing your heart and wisdom with us today. Your story has challenged and encouraged all of us to step out in faith and trust God's plan, even when we don't see the whole path. Yes. And to our listeners, if today's episode encouraged you, be sure to subscribe, share, and leave a review. And remember, faith isn't about seeing the way, it's about trusting the one who leads the way. Until next time, keep walking in fearless faith.